All right, well, good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here, and thank you all for coming. We're here to discuss the report from MDE, but the first thing I want to say is I really am thankful that everybody is here in this room. The fact that you're here means that you're putting students first and that you care deeply about what the Lansing School District is doing. I arrived here 16 months ago, July 1st, 2021, and what I found when I got here was that there were overwhelmingly a number of people who cared deeply about our children. I have an amazing school board. 3 members are here, the executive board, president, vice president, and secretary. I have a senior leadership team here that is just incredibly hardworking. We have 2 union presidents here, the head of the administrators union and the educators, so LSEA and LASA. You've got incredible people here who are trying their darndest to make it great for children. But what I found when I got here, and what has been repeated over and over again, is that the systems and structures of this district have been problematic. They've been antiquated, and they've been in a position that hasn't allowed our educators to be successful, which means that we haven't been able to have our children be successful. And what you saw from the MDE report was that many of our schools are underserving our children. And we know that. And what we've been trying to do since the moment I got here, and even before, it's not about me, this is about this district writ large, is that we are recognizing that and we are actively making changes. So, what have we done? And this is just a little bit. 1, universal pre-K. What you can imagine, of course, is if you get kids into school earlier, they will probably learn more. That's incredibly positive. And this year, we have more children in pre-K than we've ever had in the history of Lansing. 2, create a department of instruction. We know that the most important thing is the teacher in the classroom. That's how you move instruction. That's how you get students to learn more. So why not have an actual department of instruction where you have pedagogical leaders who are going into schools, supporting teachers, supporting principals? That's a big thing too. 3rd, we've created an alternative education school. You can imagine that one of the reasons why folks are not doing well in school, that are kind of failing their classes or failing their tests, is because maybe they don't feel comfortable in the schools that they're in. A district this size should have a viable and strong alternative education program. We've created that this year. We've also passed a bond, thanks to the wonderful members of the Lansing community, $130 million, well, 129.7, but who's counting, for us to build brand new schools and bring air conditioning to every classroom. Can you imagine what it's like to take a test, a state standardized test, in the middle of May when it's 100 degrees outside and there's no air conditioning in your classroom? You can imagine that that's going to impact your numbers quite a bit. And so this district is not shirking its responsibilities. We know that this is an issue, but what the community should understand and should be pleased with is that we are making great strides. One of the things that we were mentioned was our low attendance rates last year. Well, we also remained open during COVID and during the Omicron wave. So yeah, we had low attendance rates. They were in some days below 75. This year, we're already averaging more than 5 to 7% daily attendance higher because of our structures of redoing things like having CATA passes for our high school kids. You can imagine, kid misses a school bus, maybe doesn't go to school. You miss the CATA bus, there's another one. And so we're already seeing what I'd like to call green shoots, growth, things that are happening in this district that are already serving us to be better for our students and will do better based on the MDE requirements. Another thing that we've done this year is we've increased and expanded our CTE programs. When I got here, we only had about 60 kids in our CTE programs. Now we have well over 150 that are currently enrolled and a bunch of other kids that want to be part of that program. We know that those kids are more engaged. Those might have been kids that weren't succeeding, that weren't doing well, but now they're coming into school and they're doing things. So there's been a series of wonderful projects that this district has done this year and last year, and we're already seeing that. But the numbers that you saw and the reason why we have schools on that list is because of data from last year that's really indicative of data that's been going on for really a decade, if not more. And so I just want to say thank you for everybody to be here. We are addressing it. We are dealing with it head on. There's no obfuscation. There's no vamping. We understand and we appreciate that MDE has highlighted this, and we look forward to the partnership. If you now look at what's going to happen, we are going to be working in conjunction with, in partnership with MDE, where they are going to be helping us do even better for our students. One great thing that this district has been doing, and this is thanks to the really incredible work of the board and the executive team, is we're creating a new strategic plan. And I'm going to invite the board president, Gabriel Lawrence, up here to talk a little bit about that. But what I want to focus on is, if anybody was watching the board meeting last time, the strategic plan that is being submitted is one of the first that I've ever seen where the strategic plan is specific as to what the outcomes are. It's not just, well, we believe kids should learn and stuff. It is, we will have an 85% high school graduation rate. We are putting our money where our mouth is by saying you can trust that in the next 3 to 5 years, this district is going to be so much better. And so what I hope that people take from today is, yes, we acknowledge, we agree that things have not been great in this district. But it's not because our teachers aren't working hard. It's not because our principals aren't working hard. It's not because our staff are not working hard. It's because we've had a system and structures that have been antiquated, that have been problematic, that we are fixing so that we can now get to student success. And so we know that we're going to do it, and I hope that everybody listening, everybody hearing, everybody's part of this, that you recognize that we are acknowledging it and that we're going to move forward. And I hope that in 2 to 3 years, and honestly, I'll even promise this, that by the time the 2027 end of the strategic plan happens, we're going to hit those goals. We're really going to do great work, and we're already seeing that. So I just want to thank everybody. I want to invite the president up to speak really about anything that she wants. But I know that she's going to talk a little bit about the strategic plan, and then we'll take questions. But again, I want to thank the people in the audience. And what I hope the press and the people at home see is that this is not about me as superintendent having a press conference. This is about having union leaders and teachers and administrators and board all together, acknowledging that this is where we are and knowing that we are making things so much better as we move forward. President Lawrence?
Thanks, Ben. Dr. Rodriguez says to me, as I'm preparing to come up here, be nice. And I'll try. And Bob Colt tells me not to look back. And I won't, and I promise. But the only point that I want to make is, but for school of choice legislation, we would not be in the position that we're in right now. And if anybody is curious about my thoughts about that, I'd be happy to speak more about that at a later time. When Ben came to us a year and a half ago, I wasn't sure if he was the right leader for our district. And I'm sure now that the district has the correct leadership and the correct leadership team. Ben's job is to lead the infrastructure of the district. He's making sweeping changes that are so necessary and so needed. And the Board of Education's job is to lead the community. And we can't get better if the community is not with us. Which means if you live in the Lansing School District and you have a school-age child, send them to the schools in the Lansing School District. I do. I have a preschooler who's a student at Post Oak this year. My children will attend schools in the Lansing School District. I am firmly committed to that, as are other board members who have school-age children. I cannot overstate the importance of doing that. As Ben mentioned, the board is implementing a new strategic plan. The plan is to vote to adopt that plan tomorrow evening at our board meeting. That plan is extremely specific. We might even consider adding additional goals to that plan in light of this news coming out from the state of Michigan. And we're hedging our bets on that plan. We know that we have to change. We have an opportunity to change. We have to enter into this partnership with the state with optimism, because that's our only option. We're going to get better. We know we need to get better. We see exactly what our opportunities for growth are, and we're excited to delve into those. I hope that the community supports us. I also hope that the community cares as much about this report as they do about a high school mascot. Rachel, do you want to say anything? Dr. Rodriguez?
You were nice. Thank you.
That was nice.
Thank you, President Lawrence, and I very much appreciate those kind words. So there it is, folks. We know that we have been underserving our kids for a long time, but we also know that even in the last 16 months, we've made tremendous strides. Again, one of the reasons why some of the schools were on that list, one of many data points were things like attendance. Already this year, we're up 5 to 7 points. Some of the things that we've done already is we've hired actually more teachers this year, because we know more teachers, better teachers in the classroom, it's going to really have dividends. So I appreciate that I'm kind of restating a lot that was in the press advisory. I want to open up to questions. In some respects, superintendents, shouldn't do that. But I really think that in order for us to have the faith and the support of the community, is we need to be transparent, we need to be honest, we need to be open. And I look forward to answering any questions. And also, we're joined by, as I said, some wonderful leaders of this district, where I might ask them to come up to answer questions as well. So to the press, I really appreciate you being here. To the staff, to the board, to everybody, thank you for being here. And again, I'll answer as much as I can. So thank you.
What does the partnership with the state look like?
It's a great question. So historically, the state of Michigan, like all states, highlights schools that need support. And what that support looks like is unclear at this moment, because they're still figuring that out. What I have to say is I really want to thank Dr. Rice and the team at MDE that even the language change has mattered. It used to be priority. That was what they used to be called. Now it's called partnership. The idea here is that the state will come and help us, not dictate things, not force things, but to say, look, we're going to be your partner. Maybe there's going to be technical support. Maybe they're going to bring in some folks that have great instructional background. Maybe they're going to help fix some of our systems. It's unclear right now, because honestly, this was just made public like 2 days ago, but we are in constant contact with the state. We will meet with them periodically, and we'll actually have to create reports with tangible goals that we will either meet or not meet. I would like to believe we will meet them. And of course, we can make those public as well. Really? Okay. I mean, happy to answer. Yeah, sure. Hello.
Hi. It's kind of a little bit off topic.
It's cool.
But today is the anniversary of the Oxford school shooting. People on their minds, they have school safety on their
Sure.
minds. Is there anything that's going to be integrated in this plan with the state,
Sure.
in regards to school safety?
So it's a great question, and certainly a terrible tragedy, and my thoughts certainly go out to the families, but it's got to be more than thoughts, right? It's got to be actions. And I have to give this district a lot of credit. Not only do we have an entire Department of Public Safety with a director, an executive director, but we also have invested quite a lot into safety and security. Not only do you have, I think, over 1,000 video cameras, and we have actual school officials that are in schools that are officers, but we also have created secure vestibules. So if you walk into our high schools, you have to go into a secure area, be buzzed in. So there's a lot of safety protocols that we've already taken. This report from MDE is really about academic, but I will say that if a child doesn't feel safe in a building, it's pretty hard to learn. And so we take that very thoughtfully, and we understand that. But I've been very impressed with how the district has handled safety and security, and certainly that tragedy needs to be brought up over and over again so that we always focus on safety and security of our children. So thank you. Yes, sir.
Arjun Tucker, WKR News. Can you just elaborate on more of the specific elements of the strategic plan that you're saying?
Sure. I mean, I'd be happy to. The first thing I want to highlight is that this strategic plan was co-created. So when we first started and we worked with MSU, they were wonderful. Dr. Brian Beverly and his team were just terrific. That instead of starting off with preconceived notions as to what we wanted in a strategic plan, we went to the community and we said, what do you think is important? And what was great is they came up with 5 topics that really, I think, elucidate what a school district should be doing. And I'm happy to give you a copy of the draft that was made public at the board meeting last week, and the board's going to be voting on it in the next couple of weeks. But it really just focuses on things like, communication, student, achievement, things like that. And what made this strategic plan different than most that I've seen is that we were tangible around an actual outcome, putting numbers, putting dates. That way the community can hold us accountable to actually having kids graduate, actually come to school on time, or having attendance, having better communication, having better facilities. I mean, one of the big things in there is making sure that the facilities are safe and clean. I mean, that's the baseline. And so all of that is in there, and again, I'm happy to give you that. But what's nice is when you have that as your focus, and that's what's great about a board, is the board says, look, this is the district focus, this is what we need to do, and then it's our job to enact that. And so we will fill out and create that wonderful strategic plan, and we will answer it, and we will do it right. And by doing that, it will actually also, at the same time, do all the things that MDE wants us to do with our student achievement and our student attainment. And so my hope and my promise to the community is that in the next 5 years, as we walk through it, we will get our schools off this list. We will show the great work that's being done. And, come back next year, we'll look at the report again, and I can show you that I'm sure the numbers are going to move, and each year we're going to just get more and more and get better. Thank you. Okay. Well, it's wonderful to see all of you. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and we'll all be available for individual questions. Thank you.